Jelly Roll, dreams don't die. Let's talk about it. How y'all doing? Welcome to Let's Talk About It. Music Reviews Season 11. How y'all doing? Welcome to the show. We got a good show for you today. Jelly Roll has returned to music. And you know, the last song I checked out was a Jelly Roll song featured in the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie. And now we're reviewing a new song, which is supposedly featured in a new CBS show, which I have no idea what that even is about. Jelly Roll, Dreams Don't Die. Let's get into it. Let's talk about this instrumental, or this beat, I guess you could say. Now, look, you know, sometimes Jelly Roll songs, you know, sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't hit, you know, sometimes they're rough. You know, there's been a few instances where I reviewed Jelly Roll and I went, what the fuck did I listen to? Now, look, this instrumental, I'm going to say this. I really do enjoy this instrumental, actually. You know, I'm kind of surprised I did like it because I don't really like these, you know, slow kind of whatever country type instrumentals. But, you know, I'm going to say for what this song is, I think this instrumental definitely does get the job done. You know, the guitar, I will say, is very basic. It's honestly that simple, you know, country guitar, you know, loop that just kind of goes on throughout the whole song. There's not much change to it. There's no switch ups. There's no anything like that. So if there's any, you know, instrumental complexity, I'm going to say there is definitely not. This definitely does feel like a song that would blow up on TikTok. You know, it definitely has that feeling for how kind of short and sweet this type song, you know, has that kind of vibe to it. Now, look, I think this instrumental is just kind of whatever, you know. There's moments where you hear, you know, the guitar, and then it's just kind of the guitar, and then it's kind of the guitar and country sounds just kind of layered on it, you know. They're the same, honestly, genuinely, you know, country stuff that you heard all your goddamn life. You know, if you're listening to this right now, and you grew up listening to goddamn country music, I'm just going to tell you straight up, this instrumental is, you know, doesn't lack any of that complexity. There's no switch ups. There's no nothing that really changes with this instrumental. You know, it's just kind of whatever. But I think it gets the job done. You know, I think it's just one of those things where it's short, it's whatever. There's no switch ups, but there's not anything inherently bad about it. There's nothing that I'm going, this sounds terrible. This was mixed bad. This was generic. You know, honestly, I'm going to say it's not even hitting the generic lines, which I usually say quite a lot with a few Jelly Roll type songs. So it's not hitting those. It's not hitting those notes, which is honestly, I'm going to say a positive. It's a really good thing. Now let's move on from the instrumental because there's not really much to talk about with that. My next point, though, is going to be the first verse. And this is where I actually do enjoy this first verse. I think it was really nice. I like the vocals. Jelly Roll singing on here actually sounds pretty good. You know, we don't have those moments where Jelly Roll, you know, has the bad singing. You know, that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 song. I mean, the singing was so bad on that song that I went, wow. He really released this, you know, but the singing on here, though, is actually pretty good. I like the vocals. I like how he's sounding. I do like there's moments where, you know, he gets even more passionate with his vocals. One of the key things about Jelly Roll's music is that Jelly Roll, you know, can really put in some passion, can really go crazy with the vocals, can really sing his ass off, what I like to say. And does Jelly Roll sing his ass off on this song? I'm going to say yes. Jelly Roll sings his ass off on this song. He really sings his ass off here, which is really nice. I like this singing. I like the flow overall. Now, I like the hook. I like what we're hearing, honestly. The hook is honestly pretty good. Now, we have to get in some negatives, though. You know, honestly, that's where all the positives really go down. That first verse, that initial hook, I'm going to say these moments really hit. And honestly, I'm going to say these moments are probably what's going to be in a TikTok. Let's just be real. It's going to be in a TikTok, and that's probably how it's going to blow up. But this is where I get into the negatives. The second verse. What the fuck happened with the second verse? I was really enjoying this vibe. I was liking the slow country vibe, you know, the whatever country vibe, you know, it's whatever. I was really liking the first verse. The vocals were sounding really good. The hook was sounding great. And then we get into that second verse. And this is why I don't like the second verse, because usually I go, you know, there's a switch up, there's a vocal switch up, and I always talk about these vocal switch ups that I really enjoy. And this is a moment where the vocal switch up actually ruined the damn song. Surprisingly, I was actually quite shocked that the second verse really ruined my enjoyment of this track. Because, going from this point, I was really enjoying the song, and then we get to the second verse. And this is where the singing goes downhill, which... How? How the fuck does this shit go downhill after I listen to the first verse? I listen to the first hook, and I'm like, okay, this is setting up to be a pretty alright song. And then the second verse comes in. This second verse, I'm not even going to lie to y'all, there's moments where this second verse, where Jelly Roll changes the way he pronounces his words, and the way he pronounces his words sounds fucking awful. Vocally awful, terribly awful when you're listening to it, and I'm just like, how was this green lit? Who turned the damn green lit on the damn fucking second verse? That green light needed to be fucking red, because this second verse is already having some issues. For some reason, the vocals on the second verse are not sounding good. There's moments where you can hear the auto-tune literally cut off. There's moments on the second verse where you can hear the fucking auto-tune cut off. What the hell? I am surprised. I listened to Dreams Don't Die, and I'm like, alright, this is shaping up to be a pretty alright song. And then I listen to the second verse, and I go, well, did we just give up? Did we really just give up? Because the second verse is shorter than the first one. And it also is the worst part of the song, and is one of the parts of the song where I'm like, what the fuck am I listening to? I can excuse the instrumental for just being really basic, for just being the basic country fucking instrumental, because it works. It does the job. And I can excuse, the hook being played more than 3 times on this song, because I think this hook is actually pretty good. I like the vocals on the hook. But you cannot sit up here and tell me you are enjoying the second verse where Jelly Roll just goes completely off the damn rails and just starts switching up his singing to a worse version of his singing from before. Look, I'm all for switch-ups. I'm all for switch-ups with songs, whether that's beat switches, that's vocal switch-ups, that's, that's stuff, fucking flow switch-ups too. If Jelly Roll would have started flowing a little bit differently on this song, maybe I would have gave it praise. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this switch-up is good. I'm going to tell you straight up, this switch-up is bad. This is an example of a bad fucking switch-up. So, that's great to hear. I love that I listen to songs, guys. I love that I review songs, for 4+ years now. It's going to be going on to 5 once we're in 2026, which I'm very blessed, very happy for that to be happening. But I've been reviewing songs for so long, and I don't cover that much Jelly Roll because I try not to. I know Jelly Roll's music is not for me most of the time. I'm not going to be very positive with Jelly Roll from the start. I'm just going to be real. But I always give Jelly Roll the benefit of the doubt because Jelly Roll can sing. This man is talented. It's like when I talked about Eminem. Eminem can rap. Eminem is talented. What the fuck are you doing, Eminem? And it's the same thing. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Jelly Roll? I just don't understand why this second verse had to end so badly. It just really threw off the vibe of the song. These moments where the vocals just cut off just ruined my listening experience. And man, I just really wasn't ashamed because then the second verse is so over so quick. But it was so bad that it was so memorable, and then he just slaps on the ending of the hook. Slaps on the hook a couple of times, and then the song finishes out. So, when we talk about this song, guys, Jelly Roll, Dreams Don't Die, well, my dreams certainly did die when I heard that damn second verse. overall, look, if the second verse was actually pretty decent, like the first one, I actually would enjoy this song, but for how bad that second verse was, I am gonna have to give this song like a 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10, what y'all think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I don't know, let me know, guys. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your podcast at, make sure you follow, turn on notifications. We're dropping new content every single day. I'll see y'all later. You have a good one. Yeah, guys. Bye.